The first thing we're going to cover is the professional production value that Chyron Live provides you with, all the different production features and tools we have in here. Next, we'll give you a high-level overview of the workflow for bringing video into a cloud production environment and streaming it out. And from there, you'll see a demo of Chyron Live in action. So you'll be able to get a sense of how easy it is to use, what it can do, and how you can leverage it in your productions. And of course, we'll save some time at the end for questions and answers so we can answer any questions you got today. So let's get started. Chyron Live, again, the point, all-in-one production on a cloud-native platform. When we say cloud-native, what does that mean? It's that everything is built to be entirely web-based. This isn't a hardware chassis somewhere that we've provided an interface that you remote into. This is a platform that's been built on AWS, and all this functionality is processing and functioning entirely within the cloud and the web browser, so that when you're using it, you're getting full access to the feature set and tools. The other big thing, aside from the flexibility, is how that changes the traditional paradigm. You don't need to invest in expensive hardware, server chassis, and elaborate control surfaces. You don't need those brick and mortar control room real estate, production trucks, vehicle costs. Because you can access this from anywhere, it really expands the opportunities for remote production. The other thing here with Chyron Live is its intuitive interface. You're going to see in the demo, it's very easy to use Chyron Live, and this is a touchscreen capable interface that unifies live switching, audio mixing, replay, telestration, clip and graphic playout, and everything you need to create a professional production. This means that almost anyone can quickly begin using Chyron Live. So if you're used to live production, the tools will seem familiar to you. But even if you're not, it's very easy to learn, and we'll cover some of the great free online training options we have in a little bit. Live's extremely cost effective because you can run an entire production with as few as one operator, and because you don't have these built-in traditional infrastructure costs of getting it going. Of course, as a cloud platform, we offer very flexible input and output capabilities, leveraging a whole plethora of industry standard streaming protocols. And we'll talk more about how you can utilize those in a bit. And then the final part is that you can create content that you can stream to Facebook, YouTube, and other social platforms, as well as your own custom streaming platforms that you might be leveraging. So I guess to start here, the first thing up is our simple all-in-one control. So with Chyron Live, you can switch between up to 6 live video sources. So I can bring a variety of streams in. I can have a main game cam. I can have a few, other angle cams to get different replay footage from. I might have a camera on a reporter or commentator. And at any time, I could decide to bring these streams onto program or preview and send them out as an output. We also, you'll see in the demo, have the ability to do multi-picture scenes where we incorporate multiple inputs into a graphical, 2-box or 3-box scene. Aside from that, again, in this main interface, aside from switching video, I have access to all my audio sources that I can quickly mix, as well as a dedicated mixing interface. And, as important plays take place, I can create short clips for instant replay, illustrate those clips, and bring them in as saved clips to play them out in a channel. And the system can handle a virtually unlimited number of clips and take lists, depending on what you want to do. Within the interface, we have control over 2 channels of graphics and a 2-channel clip server, and it's all in a place where you can access it all very smoothly. And then finally, I can send the final output of my program to, multiple streaming platforms. I can go to YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, my own custom platform. I can run up to 3 streams simultaneously to different locations. That's the general overview. We will see all of this in the upcoming demo. So a big thing with Chyron Live is graphics. When we say pro production value, we really mean that. We put a stake in the ground that there are absolutely a lot of other cloud production platforms out there that offer basic camera switching and titling, text overlay systems, or kind of static image overlay. There's a big difference between these tools you commonly find in the market today and the top broadcaster grade graphics you get from Chyron. So to make things easy but deliver an awesome look, Chyron Live comes with a library of ready-made and animated graphics. All you have to do is specify the colors of your teams, your brand, fonts, logos, and the images you're going to want to use in production. However, if you are comfortable with graphic design and want to make your own graphics, our same tool that's used for design in our Prime CG system that many people are using all over the world, you can utilize that and upload your own graphics. So Prime Designer offers all the features that top tier graphic artists expect, including 2D and 3D objects, timelines, keyframing effects, and more. Or if you want a custom look but don't want to do it yourself, you can work with our Chyron creative services team to get designs for what you need. Prime CG has a very high output channel density, so Live effortlessly handles very demanding production needs with virtually unlimited layers on output. So I can put multiple graphics layered over one another on a single channel, create a very media-rich, dynamic production output for my audience. There is no need to limit yourself to just a single lower third title. You can pretty much have virtually whatever you want to put on air. And of course, especially in the world of sports production, Chyron graphics are well known for powerful data binding and visualization. So you can bind incoming real-time data from your event or about player stats or betting odds, and you can tether that to your graphics. So I could display numeric data such as player stats with numerical values that auto-populate within the graphic. I could set data to control object parameters. So something like the height of a bar graph. So as data comes in, say through, some sort of third-party polling feed, the height of the bars would adjust automatically and dynamically with the data. Next up is our illustrated sports analysis. So this is a very big thing with Chyron Live. It's one thing to show your viewers game footage and even replays, but to really take it up a notch, you need in-depth analysis to help viewers understand the plays and strategies that matter. With Chyron Live, you have replay creation from full access recordings of all 6 live inputs. You'll see that in the demo. It's very cool, the interface we built here. You have jog shuttle control to create a replay clip. Once that clip is made, you can start working with it with our tool set of perspective accurate 3D telestration effects, such as spotlights, numbers, pass trackers, lines, arrows, and zoom lenses. We have fine-tuned settings for scale, camera perspective, and chroma keying of important elements on the field. And of course, once you've created your perfect clip, it's very easy to save that clip and get it into a playlist for on-air playout. On the audio mixing side, what is great video without great audio? So Live's built-in audio mixer gives you access to everything you need to deliver a smooth listening experience. We have channels for our live inputs, audio in our clip files. If we have sound effects in our graphics, a big impactful stinger you always see when you're watching the big sports broadcasters, you can have that and control that audio level. And of course, if you have commentators coming in, we handle that as well. It's a very simple interface with faders for each channel, a master fader. We have real-time VU meters of your audio levels and quick button mute controls. You also have the option to auto follow video. So set your level for each channel, set it into AFV mode, and just let it do the work for you. And then, of course, given that commentary is quite important in many sports programs, we do have a dedicated remote commentary interface that provides a very simple process for remote talent to connect to your show, lets them see what's going on, lets them bring their audio into your mixer so you can control their levels yourself. And then you, of course, can provide mix minus outputs to your remote commentators. So now that I've covered the core of what Chyron Live itself does, let's take a kind of overview look at the end-to-end process of doing productions with Live. And the overall concept's pretty simple. It's that video sources need to be brought into this cloud environment before Live can do his magic. And then, of course, they must be output and sent to your viewers. So this requires a workflow that, maybe if you've been working in broadcast for a long time, it'll be slightly different from the traditional workflow, but this is a workflow that offers new efficiencies that can save you time, save you money, and make it possible to do these high-end professional shows. Most importantly, Live's tool that anyone can use from anywhere. This means that first-time sports producers can easily spin up high-quality programming. If you're already producing events, you can easily cover more of them, more games, without a huge investment of, I need to build a brand new fly pack, I need to build a control room. I can just spin up and get started. And The idea here is with great content, you can attract sponsors, advertisers, more subscribers to your channel in a way that Chyron Live pays for itself and even takes your revenue to the next level. So again, because Chyron Live is cloud native, it's built full function to operate in this web browser interface. You can access it from anywhere with an internet connection. Today for the demo, I'm going to be doing this from my home office here in Ottawa, Ontario. And yeah, you could be in an actual control room or physically at the event you're covering, but the ability to work from anywhere that you can get access to an internet connection. I mean, I was just at the SVG summit in New York a few days ago. Conference internet is always horrible. So I brought a little mobile hotspot device that allowed me to demo at the conference for 2 straight days with zero problems. So it's very easy to turn your instance on, get connected, and get producing an event. This kind of remote workflow along with the Chyron Live user interface where everything you need is at your fingertips means that a single operator can do pretty much everything from anywhere. Or you can rely on a team that could be together at one location, or they can be at their own separate locations. When multiple users log into a single Chyron Live instance, it'll maintain real-time state across all those users. So you could have people log in and do specific roles like switching cameras, editing graphics, clipping off replays and illustrating them, even a guy just doing the audio mixing if you so choose. Like what everyone is doing in that environment is going to come together just as it would in any other production with separate equipment. So with the potential for a small team, zero travel costs, when we think about the idea of mobile production in sports, that's such a huge cost. When you look at what's it going to cost me to fly staff to the location, what's it going to cost me to ship all my gear or drive a vehicle to that location. We've talked a lot about the cost of buying hardware, but there are huge costs after that hardware is purchased. And with Live, we're able to remove that barrier again to having pro production value. So that's something very exciting with Live. And if you're looking at any, especially during the demo, you're looking at any of the tools we're using, some people I know when they hear me talk about our broadcast grade graphics, they might say, I'm not a broadcast grade skilled designer. Well, a big thing at Chyron that I'll be honest, I've worked at other companies and I'm amazed by the level of training that we offer entirely for free through Chyron Academy. And you can go on our website right now, check it out, sign up, and start doing courses now. We have a full training module for Chyron Live that'll walk you through everything that I've showed you today. It's available free. It's available on demand. It's an online training platform that you can work through at your own pace. And aside from just Chyron Live, everything Chyron does is in here. So in the matter of graphics and Prime CG, through our academy, you can go through training to become a Chyron certified graphics designer. And when you complete that, we ship you a free version of our designer software. We certify you as a designer and operator and add you to a freelancer database that if our customers are looking or even ourselves are looking for design or graphics op work, we recommend you to them. If you want to learn this, if there's anything you don't feel comfortable about, please go on our website and you will find everything you need to learn it. Of course, aside from that, there's startup guides and an interactive user manual for live users. So there's plenty to help you get on top of this. Now, let's have a look at how production comes together with a cloud system like Live. So the simplest example shown here in this case, you'd be using cameras or video servers that can output video in a cloud-ready streaming format. Live supports a variety of streaming signals such as SRT, ZXC, RIST, RTMP, or RTP streams. These types of video sources can easily be connected to your Chyron Live environment with a few quick settings in Live's configuration window. As you're working in Live, you'll be able to see each video source in the multi-viewer in real time. And you'll be able to add clips, graphics, everything we do within Live within that environment. You'll be able to get it over your video. And again, you can stream it directly to Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, or your own custom streams. And then I know some of the people on the call, I think some people on here today, I actually met at SVG, and this is a question that came up quite often is, well, what if I'm using traditional, SDI camera, HDMI camera? How am I going to get this into the cloud via streaming? And in this case, you need to add a third-party encoder to the workflow in order to make the video signal cloud accessible. Encoders come in a broad spectrum. Today, during the demo, I'm going to be showing you that I've connected, a video of myself to our Chyron Live environment through an app called Larix on my phone that's entirely free through an SRT stream. There are many very affordable encoders you can find on sites like Amazon that are less than $200 or a couple $100. And then if you're doing very rigorous live production, there's some very beefy broadcast grade encoders out there that can run in the thousands of dollars or more that will a single box can handle all your cameras at once, sync them, time them, and deliver them all at a completely consistent timing. The choice depends on your number of cameras, the location you're working in, what network access do you have, what are you going to need to do to access internet connectivity, your overall budget, of course, and what are the sort of expectations or demands of your production. Our team is always testing options, and if you need more info on this or need advice, we're happy to talk with you about what your workflow looks like, learn more, and make a good recommendation. And then, of course, the other side of it is some people ask, how can I get this into a traditional OTA format out of a stream? Again, that's kind of the reverse where we need to run it through a decoder to get it back to that, hardwire format, however you're running that in your station. That's pretty much the process there. So, to summarize, this is very flexible. You have many options for the different types of video sources you work with. Phones, streaming capable PTZs, your old school cameras you've had forever that just adding an encoder box to the chain. We have sort of the full picture here where on the left, Live can take any video feed as well as audio from it. We'll look more at audio during the demo. Then in the live environment, you're going to have access to those sources, add the things that, that pro production value on of, graphics, replays, clips, and telestration. And then we're going to send those out via our different streaming protocols. Again, SRT, Zixi, RIST, RTP, RTMP, and send it out to the different platforms or, my receiving end decoder to, send it where my audience is going to watch it. And I guess to sort of button end what we've been talking about here is that the difference from the traditional and costly broadcast workflow, I just want to give you a few things to think about before we dive into the demo here. I mean, every system, every workflow has certain barriers and certain advantages with live. If you've never worked in the cloud before, it might seem daunting, but again, there's a lot of options out there. They could be very affordable, and our team is here to help you and advise you until you're ready to start producing. And part of the equation here is that live is offered at a on-demand by the production hour cost. So the idea is that rather than doing a massive upfront investment that puts you kind of one step forward, two steps back budget-wise, with a credit card, you can turn it on, without a massive upfront cost, start producing, get access to that upgrade to your productions you need now, only pay for Chyron Live when it's online, active, you're on air, and hopefully leveraging this production value to generate more revenue with using dynamic motion graphics to show advertisers and sponsors in a way that's compelling for them to pay for, enticing subscribers to come to you because they're going to get a pro level production. That's the idea here. There's the opportunity to make more money now rather than later. And again, aside from just the difference of that on-demand cost to buying hardware, you have a lot more freedom to cover any sport or event. You don't need to build out a fly pack for every production you're going to do. You don't need to ship gear all over the country or to another continent. You don't need to send operators out and pay for all the travel costs associated with that or source local talent in the area. You'll be working at I need someone now high dollar cost. So all of this is stuff you should be thinking about in regards to the total cost of operation between the traditional paradigm and Chyron Live. That's kind of the idea here. So I think what we're going to do is jump into the demo next. So I have access to my 6 sources. I can switch between them. I have the option between cutting or doing dissolves between cameras. Another interesting feature is aside from switching cameras, we also have a program and preview switch. So if I have a certain graphic on air and another on preview, I can just click the window here and it'll switch everything that is in preview to program at once. So, if I want to bring, a bunch of things on at once, I can do it that way. Again, with Chyron Live, a big part of our production value is the prime CG behind our motion graphics. So I have full control to animate graphics on and off. I can have more than one graphic in a single channel, so I can create complex multi-layered scenes. For instance, if I bring my channel 2 here on program, a great way to do this is, I put a DVE up and then I put a lower third up that explains it. So there's a lot of freedom in how you create a show with graphics and multiple layers. With Prime CG, aside from that, ton of layering capability, dynamic motion, 3D elements, the features that Prime CG has for replaceables are very, very useful in terms of creating a dynamic show. So with this lower third, every graphic we built, and actually the point I should say is that every graphic I'm showing you today is part of the template pack that ships with every instance of Chyron Live. So everything I'm going to show you today, you will have access to this with, the second you log into Live and can customize it your way. For instance, with this lower third, some of the one of the replaceable elements we have is a image. So I can open up the images we've uploaded to the Chyron Live instance, apply it, it'll dynamically animate on. I can edit text elements, take my last name out, update that, and it'll, dynamically update with motion. Another really cool thing we could do with graphics here is setup. So a cool thing of the template we have in here is actually the guy who runs our Chyron Academy, Noel, made this, and it's made to be as simple to set up as possible. So we actually have a setup scene in Live that makes it possible to set the look for all your graphics from a single interface. So you should be seeing it on the output now. This scene is just meant to represent what we do with it. But before a game, I can update all my team logos, my sponsor bugs, the names of the teams, what their team colors are. If my channel has a specific brand look I want it to have, I can set game colors for graphics. And what we can do with that is I sort of do this one single time setup before a game. And then from there, I can customize graphics very easily. For instance, with our replay wipe here, I repurpose it to say live demo. I've set our game color as our Chyron brand blue. I've set Team 1 Denmark to be green, and I've set Sweden to be yellow. And those just become little check boxes within the scene itself that I can use to dictate how a graphic looks very easily, very quickly during live production. Aside from our graphics, we also have access to 2 clip channels down here. So I've just got a few looping clips. One is of our Chyron Live sizzle. The other here is actually a replay telestration clip that I made within our live telestration interface, which we'll cover shortly. We have a dedicated mixer interface, but again, in the idea of single operator production, I have access to audio mixers here. On the output side, you might be hearing some audio coming through now. I'm going to turn it down because I don't want to have to hear the crowd of a soccer game over me while I'm talking. But the point is that I have access to all those sources from a single interface. And the final thing to call out here is just our little numpad recall. This is, mostly if you worked with a CG before, you might be used to this, but if I just want to quickly get a scene on screen, my replay scene is number 6. I hit 6. I want it to, I hit play, and it brings it over to the channel that I need it to go to. Oh, sorry, I have it loaded in another channel. That's why that's acting awkward. So let me just fix that quick. And now when I do it, it goes straight to that graphics channel. Yeah. And then aside from the playout side, we do have a browser interface where you can organize all the media for your production. So I have access to all my different graphic scenes here. I can grab a specific one I want, throw it into the playlist I have open so it becomes part of that playlist. We have all the images that we want to use as replaceable elements in our graphics so that I can, if I want to replace an image in a graphic, I can grab that from the drop-down menu. We have clips, so I can drag and drop, upload clips into this. It's very easy. Just drag it from your local file explorer. It'll give you a status update, and you're ready to go. All the playlists I've created in live are accessible here. So if there's a certain, here I have a bunch of team-based graphics, I can throw it in and I'll have access to all the different graphics that I've created within this playlist. And then here, this is a good segue into our next part, is replay. So every replay I create, it's saved in a dedicated section. So again, I can create a playlist of all my different replays I have, to take them on air. And I guess on the topic of replay, which honestly I think is the coolest part of Chyron Live personally, I know that when we launched this at NAB, I'd need to double check this now, but we are one of the only providers on the market today that has the rich replay and telestration tool set that's perfect for sports production. So in Chyron Live, I have my 6 connected sources. I can jog through those different cameras. Live is creating recordings of all the cameras as long as I'm active. So I can see what's on screen right now, but I can also jog back through this clip to find a good spot to, create a replay from. So I can, set an in point, jog a bit ahead, set an out point. I pick a temporary bank to load it into. And then from there, I have access to that clip and can start telestrating with it. Right before we hopped on this call, I was tinkering a bit and started working here. So I just started doing a small spotlight play, essentially. And what this is there are, 3D telestration effects. I could put something down. I can set its placement in the window. For the purpose of a webinar, I'm doing this on my computer, but this is where a touch interface really comes in handy, where I can touch everything with my hands. We also offer integration with external control devices. So, for switching, you could be doing a stream deck with the nice little LED buttons that indicate what that control does. In the case of replay, we could use a jog shuttle wheel to be doing the scrolling through the clip here. So with one hand, I could be, controlling my different parts of my video. And then with the other, I could be dropping telestration effects in. And essentially, this is keyframed effects. So we have a bunch here. We have a spotlight. We have different numbering we can do with players. I can draw arrows to show, the direction of play. We have a pass tracker that actually, if you look at the output stream of Chyron Live, I've actually just been playing the looping clip of a replay I created a few days ago, where you can see that the pass tracker actually will move with the ball, showing where it's going, its progress. And also we have a magnifying glass if you want to show what's happening in a specific part of the field a little closer. And essentially, to create keyframed clips, I need to drop an effect, put it where I want it, jog through the clip, and adjust where that is. So telestration, we talk about single operator production a lot. Obviously, there's a lot you can do with live. In the case of replay, I don't absolutely have to come to this interface. We actually have an instant replay functionality here that when we're using this, and I have something on program, if something happens I want to record, I click my instant replay button. It loads a clip that was built 5 seconds around that clip on the preview window. And then when I click it, it takes it to air and plays that 5-second clip. Right now, I guess we have it set to play slightly slow motion. So yeah, that's how that works. Or sorry, that might be, is it pulling from, I think it's pulling from preview. Okay. But yeah, to go back to telestration, sorry, I'll just put back on that that replay clip I have, since we're talking about telestration, and that's a good example of it. I'll throw up another one I made, and we can play that, which is another one that just shows sort of tracking numbers and spotlights and arrows and passing plays. So that's something we can do there. Once I have a clip that I'm happy with, I've telestrated it as I like, I can save it, replay, webinar. Whoops, I made a typo there. Forgive me for that. And then when I go to my browser, to my replay list, I'll see the replay that I made. And again, I can take that, throw it in the playlist, and throw it on my clip server channels. Another cool thing that personally I'd recommend, you have a very experienced operator you trust a lot doing this. But another cool thing we could do, especially if you have a really good sportscaster, doing your coverage for you and doing this, you can actually take your telestration interface live on program. I just need to get my clip channel off there. And they could actually be, either if you're kind of over analyzing a play and you want to show things at variable speeds, I can manually control the playback. If they're just sort of want to freeze frame and talk about a play, I could be drawing on things while talking about it, labeling things, and just doing kind of live analytical coverage of a specific clip. But again, my advice for that is, please do make sure you trust the guy you're going to have doing that. Aside from that, we have our dedicated audio mixing interface here. I'm not going to turn stuff up, so you don't get audio over when I'm talking to you, but we can have mute control. I could set a a level for these. I guess I'll put it up a bit just to show it in action. But when we could set it to audio follow video. When I switch between different clips, it'll bring them down. You can see on the mixer side here that it's bringing clips down and up as I switch between them. And sorry, I am going to mute this because there's a lot of noise. But yeah, that's what we're able to do there. And then as well, we don't have stuff playing right now, but if I were to play a clip with audio, we'd see, in my clip channels and my graphics channels, I have access to those. And our last one here is commentary. And what we have for a commentary interface is this gives you, a commentator review. They could log in here, click this window, and they could see a program and preview of what you're doing in your production. And it currently provides an SRT link. Again, you could plug this into an app like Lyrics on your computer or phone, and that link will stream your audio into live, making it accessible within the audio mixer. And I know in a future update, we want to make this a button you can just push to like get started right within the browser. And then of course, on the other side of live, we do have, multiple streams. So of course, today I have you watching the live output stream, but we can also set something up to, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. And if you have your own custom streaming platform, like I know some of the people on the call are probably from schools today, who use Sidearm Sports and things like that. It's just a matter of finding the signal that your streaming platform accepts, and you can get your output out to live. And I think that covers most of what I have for you in the demo today. I wanted to, where are we at here? We got, 12 minutes left. I definitely want to open stuff up to questions here. Okay, talking about encoding, what kind of encoder do you recommend? So I guess I would say, there's a lot out there. And while we can't absolutely guarantee a third-party product, again, we've been testing these, working with them. We're happy to serve as advisors to you, learn about the flow of your show, and make a recommendation. As I said, I was using Lyrics on my phone. We do have other ones. If I can, I'd need to go out of my slide to pull up another one, but I can throw up a slide here. I'll do that after I go through a few other questions of potential encoders we'd recommend. Let's see here. What is the hourly cost of live? That absolutely good question. The published price is $99 per hour. And this is all inclusive of all the live features that I've shown you, the Amazon Cloud instance itself, all the graphics, the included pack, 6 inputs, everything. But what I would say is that we do know that, that people have demanding production schedules. That $99 is a starting price. If you have a production schedule that covers, hundreds or thousands of hours over the course of the year, please talk to us, because we do have season or enterprise plans that we're happy to discuss with people, and adjust that hourly rate to something that makes sense based on the high level of usage you're going to have. So, and remember, aside from that cost, the big benefit here is the flexibility of it. You can turn this on whenever you need. You can have as many instances as you need if you have parallel game schedules. Again, you're not doing a massive upfront investment. You get that production quality now. And, if you structure your production right, you're able to eliminate a lot of these hidden costs of the old school way of doing things, of shipping, travel, sourcing talent, per diems, everything. So there's a lot we can do there. Question on, what is the delay on streaming and syncing? So, I mean, there's a few things there. Like that's dependent on, I guess, on the topic of syncing. I would say that is something currently that needs to be sorted out upstream, and there's a few ways of doing that depending on how, perfect that has to be. There are encoders out there like Matrox Monarch Edge that, they're very robust encoders. You can run, I believe, 3 cameras into a single box. Once you put it into the box, it is going to do sync, timing sync between those different cameras. And when it sends the stream out to live, those inputs will be in sync. Otherwise, if you're going to go with something like, kind of cheap encoders off Amazon and, HDMI to stream encoder or something like that, the best course is sort of the concept of like same pipe, same network, same delivery. So if I've got an 3 cameras and I have 3 little encoder boxes, I should make sure that they're the same encoder, they're transferring on the same network, their connection to the network is the same, so I don't hardwire one in Ethernet and have the other 2 going wireless. You want to make sure as best you can that delivery of inputs is consistent. Again, and depending on your network speed, that will affect the delay. I mean, it is kind of the nature of streaming that there is inherent delay. I can tell you today during the stream that I'm doing with my Larix phone that's on my Wi-Fi in my house, I get about a 3-second delay of, when I do something in here to when it shows up in the Chyron Live UI. On our YouTube stream today, I believe it's a 5-second delay on the output. And again, that's just kind of a YouTube platform thing. So on the input side, it depends on devices, encoders, network. On the output side, it depends on, the platform you're delivering to and what its capability is and what tunings it has. I know YouTube has a few options for what level of latency you're willing to accept. So let's see here. What if the game I'm covering goes into overtime and I need more time than I reserved the live environment for? Okay, so like, when we do an initial purchase with live, we do ask kind of your dates and times, how many hours you're going to need. The thing is, though, we will never cut you off, before an event ends. After we talk to you about your production plans, we'll give you the quote based on those needs. If, a game goes over time, that's fine. If it becomes clear that you'll consistently need more time than we originally thought, we're happy to talk with you about a new plan that's a better fit. And again, this is something that can absolutely scale. If you're going to be running multiple instances across tons of game hours, we want to talk with you and, be fair with that usage level and adjust that price to something that makes sense for that usage level. Can one person really do camera switching, graphics, and telestration, as you call it, illustrated replay in a fast-paced game? I mean, I'd say kind of like 90% is possible with a single operator. And I mean, it also depends on how your show is running, like what your sort of rundown is going to be. If I personally don't think someone can do telestration while switching and controlling graphics all at once. But what that could be is if I'm on a break and I've been clipping off replays of things, then maybe I'd create a package during the break that shows some telestration. But yeah, again, for the most part, you can absolutely, I think one person can absolutely switch, control graphics and play out, do some, using that instant replay function to show replay, maybe clipping off a few longer ones. You have access to that audio mixer interface. I think you could do a lot with live, but again, that's the beauty of it. If, I know how sports production is. I worked in a truck for 2 years doing local TV. It, quite often you are going to have multiple operators just because the pace of show, if you're doing something like hockey or, basketball. But that's the beauty of live, is that when multiple users hop onto a single instance, it maintains real-time state across all of them doing their individual roles in the production. We got here. Can I use graphics from any brand of CG or from an application like Photoshop or InDesign? Okay, so, well, you have a wide variety of graphics and image options available within Live. It absolutely has to be Prime CG for the motion graphics side. So you cannot use CG graphics from another vendor, because all the logic, animation, everything of these is happening from our design tool, Prime Designer from Prime CG. Again, though, if you're not familiar with Prime CG, the system comes with a boatload of pre-made graphics. Again, the same ones I've been, showing you during this demo today. I mean, even one, if you look over on the YouTube streams, like our DVE, for instance, is very simple. It's pre-built. I can, bring it up on program. I have tools to adjust the inputs it's using. I can easily control the different inputs here. Like I have left video input, I put in 6. If I want to swap in the reporter, I put in cam 5. If I want to do cool effects with pushing someone in and then pulling back to, the 2 box, it's all very easy. So if you're not familiar with CG, it's very easy to get started with this. And again, as we said earlier, Chyron Academy provides an extensive full-length training course. You can tackle at your own leisure. If you run a production team, we can set you up an admin account that allows you to actually watch and monitor your team's progress through Academy, see what they've completed, see if they're getting certified. And again, if you go through our Prime CG course, complete a certification, complete the course, do a final certification with us, we will give you the design software for free, and we will put you on our database as a freelancer if that's something you're interested in. My thing there is always Chyron Academy. Is there a free trial of Live? Unfortunately, not at the moment. We did do a private beta phase a while back, and that's closed. But of course, we do want to build our portfolio of case studies. That's why we're doing webinars about this. We want people to be confident. So anyone who's watching this webinar or even the recording after, if you're interested in doing a project and want to give Live a try, come talk to us. It's something we'll consider. Even if you're gung-ho to buy Live, we want to talk with you and map out your production and how it's coming together and make sure that you're going to be successful with it before we jump into stuff. Just a little more detail on that question, Lionel. How does 2 or more operators working on the same instance work? Do they see the same interface? So yes, essentially I hop into a live environment like what I have on the stream here. This environment's called Demo US Sport. So this is an instance of Live. Actually, before this webinar, me and our guy who created the graphics template, Noel, were on this instance together. He was doing the setup parameters of the graphics package to suit this sort of Denmark versus Sweden example that we built into this. And I can see the changes he's making when he loads a graphic when he was loading graphics into the playout channel, I could see the graphic going in. When I made updates to, I showed earlier, like changing the color based on game and team. When I made that update, he saw the colors changing. If I was in the mixer interface and made adjustments to the audio when I was in the switcher interface, I could see in that little corner preview mixer those adjustments to the audio levels. So yes, everybody sees the same things going on when they log into the same instance. So again, so it's great for multi-operator production when you need people to be handling different roles. I'll tell you what, if there's any others here, I'll write them up and we'll send some kind of like Q&A doc about what got asked today. So what I'd say is thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it a lot. If you have any questions about live, please contact myself. My name is Dan McDonald, dan.mcdonald@chyron.com. We also have Hayes Stamper, who works on our product marketing team as well, who'd be very happy to field any questions you have about this. Last thing is say thank you. So thank you so much for joining. Please message us about any questions you have. Hope today was helpful. Have a good one, everyone.